Preparing for a Broadridge interview? You've reached Candy Mentor, and this video is for you. We'll walk through 15 key questions you're likely to face. For each question, you'll see a sample answer, followed by the key points to cover. Subscribe, like, and share, and drop a topic request in the comments. Question 1. What do you know about Broadridge, and why do you want to work here? Broadridge sits at the center of financial markets infrastructure, supporting investor communications, proxy services, securities processing, and wealth and asset management technology. I'm interested because the work is operationally critical. Trades, data, statements, and client reporting need to be accurate every day. My strengths are process discipline, problem solving, and communicating clearly with stakeholders. That fits a role where reliability, controls, and client confidence matter as much as technical knowledge. While answering, focus on Broadridge's role as a financial technology and communications provider, its clients, recurring revenue model, and why your skills fit operations, data, client service, or finance work. Question 2. Can you walk me through the trade lifecycle from execution to settlement? The trade lifecycle starts when an order is created and executed. Then the details flow into middle and back office systems for confirmation, allocation, affirmation, clearing, and settlement. After settlement, positions, cash, fees, and books and records must reconcile. A platform like Broadridge helps standardize that flow, reduce manual touchpoints, flag exceptions, and create audit trails. The key is not just processing trades quickly, but proving the records are complete and accurate. Make sure to cover order capture, execution, affirmation, clearing, settlement, custody, and reconciliation. Emphasize where Broadridge-style processing platforms add value through automation, exception management, and regulatory reporting. Question 3. A client says their cash balance does not match Broadridge's records. How would you investigate? I would first define the break: account, currency, date, amount, and system source. Then I would compare cash movements line by line, looking for timing items, missing trades, settlement fails, fees, FX, dividends, or corporate actions. If the issue is internal, I would escalate with evidence and expected correction. If it is a timing difference, I would explain that clearly to the client. Throughout, I would keep an audit trail and provide regular updates. In your answer, talk about structured break investigation. Compare source files. Isolate timing versus true breaks. Review transactions. Check fees and corporate actions. Document findings, and communicate status clearly. Question 4. What are corporate actions, and why are they important in securities processing? Corporate actions are events initiated by issuers that affect securities holders, such as dividends, stock splits, mergers, rights issues, tenders, and redemptions. They matter because they directly impact client positions, cash, tax treatment, and reporting. The operational process requires accurate event capture, eligibility checks, elections for voluntary events, entitlement calculations, and timely communication. A small error can create financial loss, client dissatisfaction, and regulatory exposure, so controls and deadlines are critical. Be sure to mention mandatory and voluntary events, income events, position eligibility, election deadlines, entitlement calculation, client notifications, and the operational risk created by incorrect processing. Question 5. How would you explain Broadridge's role in proxy voting and investor communications? Broadridge helps financial institutions and issuers communicate with investors, especially around proxy materials, shareholder meetings, regulatory documents, and voting instructions. In simple terms, it supports the plumbing between companies and the investors who hold shares through brokers or custodians. The process needs accurate ownership data, timely distribution, secure vote collection, and reliable tabulation. That is valuable because governance events are time-sensitive, regulated, and highly visible to clients and shareholders. While answering, focus on connecting issuers, brokers, banks, institutional investors, and beneficial owners. Include vote distribution, tabulation, regulatory communication, digital delivery, and accuracy of shareholder records. Question 6. What challenges does T+1 settlement create for operations teams? T+1 compresses the settlement window, so firms have less time to fix trade details, confirm allocations, arrange funding, resolve SSI issues, and manage settlement exceptions. Under T+2, some breaks could be addressed the next morning. Under T+1, delays quickly become fails. Operations teams need stronger intraday controls, automated matching, accurate standing settlement instructions, and faster escalation. The business impact is lower fail risk, reduced costs, and better client confidence. Make sure to cover shorter timelines for trade allocation, affirmation, funding, exception resolution, securities lending recalls, FX coordination, and the need for automation, clean data, and same-day escalation. Question 7. How do you ensure data accuracy when working with large financial datasets? I treat financial data accuracy as a control process, not just a spreadsheet task. I start by validating the source, then check completeness, duplicates, formatting, and key totals against independent records. I use reasonableness checks, such as unusual price moves, negative balances, or large unexplained variances. If I make adjustments, I document the logic and retain support. When something looks wrong, I escalate early rather than forcing the data to fit. In your answer, talk about source validation, completeness checks, duplicate detection, reconciliations, reasonableness tests, exception reporting, version control, documentation, and knowing when to escalate questionable data. Question 8. Tell me about a time you handled a time-sensitive production issue or urgent deadline. In a previous deadline-driven project, a key report had mismatched totals shortly before delivery. I split the issue into source data, calculation, and formatting checks, then asked a teammate to independently validate the largest variances. We found one late file had not been loaded. I corrected the report, documented the cause, and sent the update on time. The lesson was to stay calm, isolate the issue quickly, and communicate progress before stakeholders start guessing. Be sure to structure the answer using situation, task, action, result. Highlight prioritization, calm communication, root cause thinking, teamwork, and how you protected service quality under pressure. Question 9. How comfortable are you with Excel, SQL, or other tools used for reporting and analysis? I'm comfortable using Excel for reconciliations, variance analysis, pivots, lookups, conditional checks, and structured reporting. With SQL, I can pull data, filter records, join tables, group results, and investigate exceptions. I also understand that tools are only useful if the logic is controlled and repeatable. For financial operations, I would rather build a clear, auditable process than a complicated formula nobody can review or maintain. While answering, focus on practical usage rather than buzzwords. Mention lookups, pivots, reconciliations, data cleaning, SQL joins, filters, aggregations, automation, and quality checks for financial reporting. Question 10. If you were supporting fund or asset management reporting, how would you validate a NAV? NAV validation means confirming that assets minus liabilities divided by shares outstanding is complete and reasonable. I would check positions against custody records, validate prices, reconcile cash, review income and expense accruals, and confirm investor activity such as subscriptions or redemptions. Then I would compare the NAV move to market performance and tolerance thresholds. If a variance is unexplained, I would hold release until the break is understood or properly escalated. Make sure to cover holdings, prices, cash, income accruals, expenses, corporate actions, subscriptions and redemptions, tolerance checks, prior day comparison, and sign-off controls before release. Question 11. What controls would you expect in a financial operations or client reporting process? A strong process should prevent errors, detect errors quickly, and prove what happened. I would expect maker-checker review, automated reconciliations, exception reports, access controls, audit trails, and clear approval points before client-facing output is released. Segregation of duties is important, so the same person is not preparing and approving key changes. Good controls also need documentation, because repeatability matters when volumes are high or teams rotate responsibilities. In your answer, talk about maker-checker review, reconciliations, exception queues, access controls, audit trails, approval workflows, segregation of duties, tolerance thresholds, and documented procedures. Question 12. How would you handle a difficult client who is frustrated about a recurring operational issue? I would first acknowledge the frustration and make it clear I'm taking ownership of the follow-up. Then I would separate the immediate fix from the root cause work. The client needs a clear status, expected timeline, and next update point, not vague reassurance. Internally, I would gather the right teams, confirm facts, and identify prevention steps. The goal is to solve the issue while rebuilding trust through transparency and consistency. Be sure to mention empathy, ownership, fact-gathering, clear timelines, internal coordination, honest communication, root cause analysis, prevention steps, and avoiding blame while protecting the relationship. Question 13. How do you prioritize when multiple breaks, client requests, or deliverables arrive at the same time? I prioritize by impact and deadline, not just by who asked first. A settlement issue with financial exposure or a regulatory deadline would rank above a routine reporting question. I would quickly list the open items, identify dependencies, confirm cutoffs, and communicate realistic timelines. If capacity is tight, I would escalate early with options rather than silently missing something. Prioritization is really about protecting clients, controls, and deadlines at the same time. While answering, focus on risk-based prioritization, client impact, financial exposure, regulatory deadlines, settlement cutoffs, seniority of escalation, dependencies, communication, and reassessment as facts change. Question 14. Describe a process you improved or would improve in an operations environment. I would start by looking for repetitive manual work, frequent breaks, or steps that depend on one person's knowledge. For example, if a reconciliation requires copying data between files, I would standardize the input, add validation checks, and automate the comparison where possible. I would still keep review controls, because automation without oversight creates new risk. Success should be measured through fewer errors, faster turnaround, and easier handoff to other team members. Make sure to cover identifying pain points, measuring error rates or time spent, simplifying steps, automating repetitive work, adding controls, training users, and tracking improvement after implementation. Question 15. Why should Broadridge hire you for this role? Broadridge should hire me because I combine accuracy, ownership, and a practical understanding of financial operations. I'm comfortable working with data, investigating breaks, documenting results, and communicating with both technical and business stakeholders. I also understand that in a company like Broadridge, small errors can affect large client populations, so discipline matters. I would bring a learning mindset, strong follow-through, and the ability to stay composed in deadline-driven environments. In your answer, connect your technical skills, attention to detail, ownership mindset, client orientation, ability to learn systems, and fit with Broadridge's focus on reliability, scale, innovation, and trust. If you are still with us, congratulations, you are much ahead of the rest and serious about preparing for your interview. We hope we were able to add value to your preparation and create some helpful content. Do not forget to like and share this video. Your small act can do great things for us.